So vigorously chant. Now it's the beautiful time of year. So if you exert, you won't feel tired at all. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Pribhakacharya Starasi Simad, His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Vishnupad Paramahamsa Pribhakacharya Starasi Simad, His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktivedanta Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Srila Gokishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Thakur Bhakti Vinod Ki Jai. Sri Guru Parampara Ki Jai. Sri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Go Premananda, Hari Hari Bol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. All together, please. Om Jnana Timarandasya Kanandana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stavitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yukta Padakamalang Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrijatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Savetam Savadutam Prijana Setan Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padang Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha He Krishna Karana Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapcha Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Brindavanishwari Vrishabhana Sutadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto, chapter 25. 87, verse number 25, chapter entitled, The Prayers of the Personified Vedas. So, please repeat. Janim, Asataha, Sato, Mritim, Utapmani, Ye, Cha, Bidham, Vipanam, Ritam, Smarati, Upadishyanti, Ta, Arupitai, Tri, Guna, Maya, Pumam, Eti, Bidha, Yad, Abhoda Krita, Twai Na, Tata, Paratra, Sa, Baved, Avabodha Rase, Janim Asata, Sato Mritim, Utamani Yecha Bidam. vipanamritam smaratyupadishanti ta arupitai triguna maya pumam iti bida ya abhodakrita tvaina tata paratra sa bhaved avabodharase. Okay, go ahead. Some brave soul, without reservation. Okay, Vaishnavis. Janamasata sato mritim uttamani chaye bidam. Okay, so Vaishnavis with good eyesight, distant vision. Okay, so we go straight to the word for word. Please repeat. Janim, creation, asataha, of the manifest world, from atoms, sataha, of that which is eternal, mritim, destruction, uta, also, atmani, in the soul, ye, who, cha, and, bidam, duality, vipanam, mundane business, ritam, real, smaranti, declare authoritatively, upadishanti, teach, te, they, arupitai, in terms of illusions imposed on reality. Three, guna, of the material modes. Mayaha, composed. Puman, the living entity. Iti, thus. Bida, dualistic conception. Yat, which. Abodha, by ignorance. Krita, created. Twayi, in you. Na, not. Tataha, to such. Paratra, transcendental. Saha, that. Ignorance. Bhavet, can exist. Avabodha, total consciousness. Rase, whose compassion. Whose composition. Translation, the devotees, particularly Gopi Paranadan, I believe. So, supposed authorities, excuse me, who declare that matter is the origin of existence and that the permanent qualities of the soul can be destroyed, that the self is compounded of separate aspects of spirit and matter, and that material transactions constitute reality, all such authorities base their teachings on mistaken ideas. that hide the truth. The dualistic conception that the living entity is produced from the three modes of nature is simply a product of ignorance. Such a conception has no real basis in you, for you are transcendental to all illusion and always enjoy perfect total awareness. Please repeat. Supposed authorities who declare that matter is the origin of existence, that the permanent qualities of the soul can be destroyed, that the self is compounded of separate aspects of spirit and matter, or that material transactions constitute reality. All such authorities base their teachings on mistaken ideas that hide the truth. The dualistic conception that the living entity is produced from the three modes of material nature is simply a product of ignorance. Such a conception has no real basis in you, for you are transcendental to all illusion and always enjoy perfect total awareness. So yes, now the purport is very long, 5 paragraphs long, and it is dealing with the 6 darshans. Even in the Vedas, there are 6 darshans: Vaisheshika, Nyaya, Sankhya, Yoga, Karma Mimamsa, and Uttara Mimamsa. So darshans means visions or views or opinions on the conclusions of the Vedic knowledge. So the purports are dealing with each one of these different supposedly authoritative views of the Vedic knowledge. So there are paragraphs here that enunciate these ideas and the contrary arguments. Vedavyas, he wrote the Uttamimamsa, or the Upasana, the 6th darshan of the Vedas, and that is Bhakti Kanda, that is the devotion of the Supreme Lord. The previous 5, they are the supposed authorities. Their interpretation of the Veda, their view of the Vedic knowledge, is not perfect. And the arguments against their interpretations are given in these paragraphs. So this verse is spoken by the Vedas, explaining that bhakti, as taught by Vedavyas, Vedantakrit Vedavid Eva Chaham, is the supreme understanding of the Vedas. And it is understood, Bhakti Mama Vijananti, by bhakti. So what we'll do is, we'll read a paragraph and then attempt to elucidate, enunciate the meaning, and then move on to the next paragraph. If I just read 5 pages of complicated philosophy, you'll be overwhelmed. But we'll go step by step. What do you think? Good idea? Right? So, first paragraph. The true position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is a sublime mystery, as is also the dependent position of the Jiva soul. Most thinkers are mistaken in one way or another about these truths, since there are countless varieties of false designations that can cover the soul and create illusion. Foolish conditioned souls submit to obvious delusions but the illusory power of Maya can easily subvert the intelligence of even the most sophisticated philosophers and mystics. Thus there are always divergent schools of thoughts propounding conflicting theory concerning basic principles of truth. So, this is a very nice paragraph. The position of the Supreme Lord and the dependent position of the Jiva soul, which we are all very familiar with, right? Matak Paratram, everything Sutri Mani Gana Iva rests upon the Supreme Lord. Every atom and molecule, every principle, every idea, it is resting on the foundation of the Supreme Lord. Just like pearls or neck beads are strung upon a thread. So this reality is understood in that way, that Krishna is the supporter. And Krishna is also the supporter. The soul is strung upon the Supreme Lord. That Krishna is the Atma. Sometimes we have a painting and there's super soul and then there's like a soul picture next to it. But actually the soul of the soul is Krishna, Paramatma, his expansion. So Krishna is within the soul. Krishna is within everything. And on that foundation, the reality of material and spiritual world exists. And he expands the Chatuvyuha in the in the spiritual world to maintain these principles. What are the Chatuvyuha? Once, many years ago, I did research on this. There are thinking, feeling, willing, and decision-making. So each one of those that we pursue as spirit souls or living beings, they perform those activities of consciousness, thinking, awareness. The first principle is Vasudeva. And then Shankarshan empowers us to feel or consider. And then willing is under Pradyumna. Pradyumna supports our ability to will without interfering with our free will. He facilitates our ability to consider. And then Adiruddha, the child of Pradyumna, facilitates our action. So these are the three actions or phases of the spiritual energy in terms of activity, consideration, decision, and so on. And then there is another Chatuvyuha, expanded down to the material area, to do exactly the same thing within the material world. Our thinking is supported by Vasudeva. That means our conscious awareness. And then Shankarshan is supporting our consideration. We are consciously aware, but we're evaluating the situation within which we are. And then we're coming to Sankalp, Vikalp. We're coming to a decision. That is facilitated by Pradyumna. And then we come to a decision that often is action. And that is facilitated by Aniruddha. So that is the purpose of the Chatuvyuha. And from Shankarshan, in that second Chatuvyuha, Mahavishnu is expanded and he emanates the causal ocean within the Karanadak, it's called. And he is in the Leela of Yoganidra. And that emanation energy, it is Chit Shakti, but it has an admixture of Tama. Tama means forgetfulness. In his Leela, Mahavishnu is in slumber. So when we slumber at night, we often forget our external identity and we dream another identity. We think, I'm scoring the winning goal, or in the football match, the World Cup or something. But then we return to supposed reality in the day. So Mahavishnu, he is in Yoga Nidra, and Rama Devi is present there massaging him, and in his Leela he is mixing Tama, forgetfulness of self, into the Karana Dakshayi ocean. And so that waters, it's also called the Viraja, those waters, supposedly waters of subtle spiritual energy, they have a quality of forgetfulness of the absolute truth. So when Mahavishnu glances upon personification of the material energy and creates the Mahatattva with the time Shakti, the products by the three modes of material nature, they have an inherent quality of tama. Now in the spiritual world, the Chit Shakti, the energy of the Supreme Conscious Energy, doesn't have that. But in the material world, this creation has an admixture of forgetfulness of the Supreme. This is the Leela of Mahavishnu. And so therefore, in the material world, as it's there in the translation, when we concentrate in an enjoying and controlling mood upon the material energy, there is a tendency to forget the Supreme, because we are focusing on something that it is Chit Shakti into the material modes, but it still carries this Tama. So when we try to enjoy the material world without yoga, without union to the Supreme, we can become easily confused about the nature of reality, the nature of our individuality, the nature of the soul, and the nature of the Supreme Lord Himself. So, but by yoga, by linking, particularly with bhakti, we can become Swayam Eva Spuryada. The Supreme Lord manifests the correct understanding from within the heart. Yasya Devi Parabhakti, Yasya Devi Tadaguru, Tashyate Prakashante Mahatmana. The person that has realized implicit faith in the Supreme Lord and the spiritual teachers, to him, that great soul, everything is automatically revealed. He is no longer in a confusion. But here in the first paragraph, this principle is being explained, that in the material world, even great sages who do not fully link their knowledge and comprehension in devotion to the Supreme, Bhakti Amam, can be covered, even though they are great rishis. Now, we should still respect these great rishis. We should, can you turn up? Am I talking to myself? Turn it up.
You're closer, you stay closer.
Yes, but it's difficult to.
The echo comes if you turn it.
Yeah, just turn up 5-10%. So, this ability to overcome Maya is done by the linking process, by yoga to the Supreme. And it is achieved, Spuryada, like I say, by the mercy of the Supreme. This is the special quality of Uttaramimam, that we rely on the mercy of Krishna. But we qualify ourselves for the mercy of Krishna by performing sadhana bhakti as described by bona fide Guru, Mahajena Katasva Pantha, big acharyas, and the Shastra itself. And you know, in the Gita it says, Yak Shastra Ustrishya. Those that give up the Shastra, they don't know what is to be done, and they don't achieve perfection, happiness, or the supreme goal. So this is very important, that this is the power of bhakti, that in the other yoga processes, the karmi is thinking, I will follow the prescriptions of karma kanda. Very nicely, I'll achieve this goal. The jnani is thinking, by my intelligence, I will comprehend everything. The yogi is thinking, by mechanical breathing exercises, tapasyas, and certain meditations, I will attain kaivalya, I will gain mystic powers, and that is a solution. But the devotee just thinks, let me become ahoitaki apratiyata. Save pumsam parado armo yato bhaktir ad hoksija. ahoitaki apratiyata yenatma suprasidati. That second chapter of Bhagavatam, verse number 6. The highest religious principle is to render bhakti to the Supreme Person. And this bhakti should be ahoitaki, without material motivation. In this material world, we're motivated to enjoy. But when we enter the path of bhakti, we should understand very carefully that our motivation should be the pleasure of Krishna, the pleasure of the spiritual master. We should not consider, oh, I'm going to bhakti to achieve sakyaras. I want to achieve bliss. That is the same as going to the material energy and thinking, I want to achieve money. I'm using spiritual life to serve myself. Now previously I was going to the material energy to serve my desires. But we go to bhakti ahoitaki. So Prabhupada in one morning work, he dismisses Siddha Pranali and he says we should just chant Hare Krishna, considering, Krishna, you decide how you want to engage me in service, as you desire. We don't go with the request, I want this position, I want that, I want this. That in spiritual life, that stops our progress. We have to go ahoitaki, and apratiyata means unbroken. Yenatma suprasidati. If we practice bhakti in that light, then this awakens our actual constitutional relation with Krishna very quickly, because our constitutional relationship with Krishna is based on unmotivated bhakti. Everyone in the spiritual world, we should conceive of this very closely, is acting without selfish motivation. They are selfless. In the material world, everyone is selfish. In the spiritual world, everyone is a selfless servant of the Supreme and his devotees. In the material world, everyone is a selfish servant of his body, mind, and senses and aspirations. So sometimes we bring that self-interest to bhakti, and we bring it into our chanting. But we should philosophically understand Prayojan Tattva and chant ahoitaki, apratiyata. And this is what Lord Chaitanya says, is it not? I nija tanuja kinkaram patitamam. I am fallen down in the material world. He doesn't say, now you pick me up and give me position in Goloka. Give me position of this quality. He says, just let me be an atom of dust. I'm not aspiring for anything other than that. This is ahoitaki bhakti. And then the alishya padaratam, whether you embrace me or trample me, that is your decision. And then we have the great song by Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Manasa deho geho yoki sokora. Apila tuwa pade Nanda Kishore. Nanda Kishore, I give everything to you. Now, if you liberate me, that's your choice. If you don't, keep me in the material, then okay. But let me just be an insect in the house of a Vaishnav. So maybe I can take a little of his prasad. So this is pure bhakti. It is completely ahoitaki. And this is the glory of the great acharyas. They understand this, and Srila Prabhupada has enunciated this throughout the Bhagavatam. So we should conceptualize this and chant in that mood. I'm just chanting so that you can decide my service. I'm not aspiring for anything. So we're very fortunate to be sheltered at the lotus feet of such great acharyas. But if we maintain motivation, then we slow our progress. Eventually Krishna, through his mercy and the acharya's mercy, will take us back to Godhead. So we should respect everyone. But we should understand that imperfection should not interfere with our progress. This is what Abhinanda said to me yesterday. You may be practicing and very imperfectly understanding. You're practicing guitar or you're practicing how to play piano. So you're imperfect. You're not totally learned, but you're still making progress by practice. So we should not be discouraging upon ourselves that we are not on that platform. We should have a vision, prayojan of that, and pray that the mercy of Krishna and Guru will come to us so that we can live in that mode and properly understand it. So when we read here, as this in this first paragraph, that even the great sages are overcome by illusion, well, we should also understand that such great personalities, often they are under yoga maya, and they are making a book of philosophy in one place so that the Vaishnava acharyas can come and defeat it. That is one of the reasons that is in the Padma Param, Mayavadam Ashak Shastram Prishtanam Bodham Uchyate. Lord Shiva tells Parvati that in Kali Yuga, I take the form of a sannyasi and I preach Mayavad so that under the direction of the Supreme Lord. And what's the purpose? The purpose is so that the Vaishnava acharyas can defeat it. That's one of the purposes. So his Sarika Bhasya is in one book. So then the Vaishnavas come along and they say, look, that's not logical. That's not what the Vedas say. You've ignored this. You've invented Mahabhakya. This is not concerned. This part of the Vedas. So this is often the case, that people propose philosophies with a motivation and they choose what suits and ignore what contradicts. That is the Mayavadi technique. So Lord Shiva, he is Vaishnavayata Shambhu. He is the greatest Vaishnav, but he's preaching impersonalism. There are only real three explanations of reality, and that is personalism. The Vedas are here praying to the Supreme Person. Impersonalism, that everything is produced out of an amorphous personality, variety-less energy. And then there is voidism. And there is voidism has two divisions. One is that everything came from nothing, which is very foolish, illogical, because nothing doesn't exist, so how can anything come from it? And the other idea is that the material energy has always existed, so we don't have to find an origin. But that is not satisfying, is it? We always find in this world something has a cause. So by saying the material world that we find ourselves within, it's always existed and it's just transmuting, is avoiding the question. Why is there a material world instead of non-existence? Why is it existing? Why is this condition? Why do we have a conception of desiring to know the truth if the truth is just this material existence and there is no truth? Why do we inquire into a truth? Why is this material energy which we are supposed to be a part of evoking in us a desire to know the cause if it is uncaused eternality as material energy? So in this way the Vaishnava acharyas defeat these other views. So, second chapter, paragraph. In traditional Indian philosophy, the followers of Vaisheshika, Nyaya, Sankhya, Yoga, and Mimamsa. So they're the five other darshans. All have their own erroneous ideas, which the personified Vedas point out in this prayer. So it's kind of a full verse, and each phrase there is a refutation of a whole philosophy. The Vaisheshikas say that the visible universe is created from an original stock of atoms, Janim Asata, as Kannada Rishi's Vaisheshika Sutra 7.120 state, Nityam Paramanu Dalam. That which is of the smallest size, the atom, is eternal. So this is voidism, right? the material energy has always existed and will always exist, and it will transmute and be that way eternally. And there's no need to inquire into a cause. That means pushing out the idea of a personal cause. That which is, yes, is the atom is eternal. Kanada and his followers also postulate eternality for other non-atomic entities, such as the souls who have become embodied, and even a supreme soul. So they say the soul, or the supreme soul, is an eternality. It is a manifestation of this atomic interaction of the material energies. But in Vaishesika cosmology, the souls and the supersoul play only token roles in the atomic production of the universe. Srila Krishna Dvaipanya Vedavyas criticizes, he is incarnation, empowerment of Krishna, criticizes this position in his Vedanta Sutras 2.2.12. Ubhaya yatha api na kamanas tad abhava. According to this sutra, one cannot claim that at the time of creation, atoms first combine together because they are impelled by some karmic impulse, adhering in the atoms themselves. Since atoms by themselves, in their primeval state, before combining into complex objects, have no ethical responsibility that might lead them to acquire pious and sinful reactions. Yes, so they are impersonal objects. So why should they be subject to papa and punya reactions? That's a clear point. Nor can the initial combination of atoms be explained as a result of the residual karma of the living entities who lie dormant prior to creation, since these reactions are each jiva's own and cannot be transferred from them even to other jivas, what to speak of inert animals. So there is the jiva and the material energy, and this is explaining that what is the karmic reaction by which they are in different situations. And you cannot put it onto the atoms because they are inert, they are non-causal, they are just carried by the waves. And if you exert that it is not the jiva being involved in it, then you can't blame the jiva also. You're just saying it's all a big impersonal mass that is transmuting, and there's no causality or desire of the jiva, because the jiva is a production of a combination of atoms. He's just a more sophisticated function of atoms. Alternatively, the phrase Janyam Asata can be taken to allude to other yoga philosophy of Patanjali Rishi. So that is number 4, comes after Sankhya. Inasmuch as his Yoga Sutras teach one how to achieve transcendental status of Brahmanhood by a mechanical process of exercise and meditation. Patanjali's yoga method is here called asat. That means it's a temporary, it's a material function, because it ignores the essential aspect of devotion, surrender to the will of the Supreme Person, right? That is the darshan of upasana, that Vedavyas, Vedanta Ved, emphasizes that the supreme activity of the jiva is by his choice to perform devotion to the Supreme Lord. Now, if you have a very complicated yoga system, but you don't include that bhakti, then your system is a material and unsatisfactory creation. Alternatively, the phrase, yes, okay, surrender, right? And then the verse there is quoted, 17:28 from the Gita. Anything done as a sacrifice, charity, or penance without faith in the Supreme or Sanupritha is impermanent. It is called asat and is useless, both in this life and in the next. Because what is useful is that activity and meditation which will take you out of the material energy, out of birth, death, old age and disease. So it's useless just going and getting mystic powers and flying around the universe. You're still within the modes of material nature. You're still in the grasp of mrityu samsara. So it is asat. It cannot give the transcendental situation. The Yoga Sutras acknowledge the personality of Godhead in an oblique way, but only as a helper whom the advancing yogi can utilize. Yes, that's interesting. Yes. They acknowledge Supreme Personality, but they want to employ that Supreme Personality as a helper in the achievement of mystic yoga power and liberation, so-called, within the material energy. So they not employing the Supreme Lord as the absolute source and everything, an object of devotion. They say, Supreme Lord, I'll meditate upon him and he'll help me achieve these goals. So that's not bhakti. That's not ahoitaki bhakti, as we explain. Devotional meditation on God is yet another means of achieving concentration. So they're employing that for their end, not for the satisfaction of the Supreme in a selfless consciousness. In contrast, Badarayan Vedavyas's philosophy of Vedanta emphasizes devotional service not only as a primary means to liberation, but also as identical with liberation. Yes. So Vedavyas says that liberation is bhakti. And bhakti is continuous attraction for the Supreme Lord. That is what Bhakti Vinod says in the Tattva Sutras. Bhakti is continuous attraction. And that is itself liberation. And we find in the Bhagavatam, Muktir hitavan yata rupan swarupene avrishtati, that what is mukti? It means to be situated in your spiritual relationship, your spiritual form with the Supreme, and to engage in the leela of bhakti. That is mukti. Mukti is not just to be free of material energy, but it is to be engaged in the leela of Krishna. Gautama Rishi, in his Naya Sutras, right, there's Vaishesika we heard, now Naya, logic. Lord Chaitanya was an expert in Naya. Proposes that one can attain liberation by negating both illusion and unhappiness. By successively dispelling false conceptions, bad character, entangling action, rebirth and misery, the disappearance of one of these allowing the disappearance of the next can achieve final liberation. So first you should get rid of false conceptions, you should get Siddhanta. Then bad character will go. Then entangling or material action will go. Then rebirth will go and misery. And they will come away consecutively. In the Naya Sutra 112, but since Naya philosophers believe that awareness is not an essential quality of the soul, they teach that a liberated soul has no consciousness. That's very interesting. So you're going to be liberated and unconscious. So how are you going to appreciate anything? That is a kind of, I'm going to become void. I'm only conscious because of the interaction of the modes and the material energy and the atoms. But when I'm liberated, so this is Buddhistic, voidism. It's interesting. The Naya idea of liberation thus puts the soul in the condition of a dead stone, right? So why aspire for liberation if you're going to be a dead stone? If you're walking down the Parikramath and you say, well, you don't see many stones now, and you just see a stone, is that what you are aspiring to be? No, we want to enter in the Leela and selflessly give pleasure to Krishna and the Supreme Lord's devotees. But since Yes, but since Nyaya philosophers believe that awareness is not an essential quality of the soul, they teach that a liberated soul has no consciousness. Right? Same point. The Nyaya idea of liberation thus put the soul in the condition of a dead soul. This attempt by the Nyaya philosophers to kill the soul's innate consciousness is here called Sato Vritim. Right? That's from the verse. So all these ideas are there in sutra form in the original sloka today by the personified Vedas. But the Vedanta Sara Sutra 2.3.17 unequivocally states, Nyota eva, the jiva soul is always a knower. Just like it said earlier, the soul is always a conscious entity. He's perceiving and then considering and accepting, rejecting, and then performing activities. Although the soul in truth is both conscious and active, the proponents of Sankhya philosophy strongly separate these two functions of the living force, atmiyecha bidham, ascribing consciousness to the soul, purusha, and activity to material nature, prakriti. According to Sankhya Sarika, thus, since the apparent differences between the Purushas are only superficial, being due to various modes of nature that cover them, that means there's different souls, but there's only different upadhis, and it's only superficially different. One is a man, one is a woman, one is old, one is small, one is big. The Purusha's real status is proven to be that of a witness, characterized by his separateness, his passive indifference of being an observer and inactivity. So they do not say that the soul is a decider or a chooser. Rather, the soul is just sitting there he's perceiving, but he's not actively choosing or using will. The material energy is flowing around him, but he is not exerting desire. Thus, by contact with the soul, the unconscious subtle body seems to be conscious, while the soul appears to be the doer, although he is aloof from the activity of nature's modes. Right? This is what they're explaining. The soul is above it all, and he doesn't really care if the body is living or dying, if it's happy or fed or whatever its condition is. He's aloof. So that's one step above being a dead stone. He's conscious, but he's not willing. He's indifferent. Srila Vyasadeva, now this is interesting, refutes this idea. So let's see what in the section of Vedanta Sutra 2231-39 that begins. The jiva soul must be the performer of actions because of the injunctions of the scripture must have some purpose. Now this is very logical, is it not? Yes. The scriptures say you must act in this way and not this way. Pravrittim cha, nivrittim cha. Or according to your action, you will get punishment or reward, materially speaking. So why are those injunctions? If the soul is just conscious and aloof, undesiring, but just conscious, just sat, then why are the scriptures, why are the Gita and all the Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda, why are they all saying, don't do this, do this? Huh? Give in charity, control your senses, study the scripture, respect the sadhus. Why are they giving injunctions if the soul is, it's like talking to a dead body? Huh? Why don't you get up and have your breakfast? I don't know. I'm unconscious. I'm conscious, but I have no desire. So why are the injunctions there? To advise the soul, use your free will, your capacity in a correct manner. So that Vedavyasa is making a very clear point. Why is that there? Because the soul is not just conscious, but he is a doer. He's a desirer. You see the point? The jiva, not the modes of nature. This is Baladev Vidyabhushan, Govinda Bhasya. The jiva, not the modes of nature, is the doer. Why? Because the injunctions of scripture must have some purpose. For example, such scriptural injunctions, one who desires to attain heaven should perform ritual sacrifice. And Brihadaranya, one should worship with the aim of attaining the spiritual kingdom. So the injunctions are there. Use your choice. Desire the correct thing. Right? Don't desire to be sick. Desire to be healthy. So if you're same point. If the modes of nature were the doer, and by implication the soul undesiring but just a conscious entity, these statements would serve no purpose. So why are all the Vedas there giving advice? What is pravittim cha, nivrittim cha? What is dharma and what is adharma? If the soul does not have a choice. After all, the scriptural injunctions engage the living entity in performing prescribed actions by convincing him that he can bring about certain enjoyable results. Such a mentality cannot be aroused in the inert modes of nature. You know, you can't speak to inert things and inspire actions in certain directions. You can talk to your motorbike all day and say, go to Radhakund and get me some water. But he's never going to do it. He's inert. So if the soul is only one step above being inert, why are all the scriptural injunctions giving advice? Same point. Janmani Rishi, in his Purva Mimamsa Sutras, presents material work and its results. So now we're moving on to Purva Mimamsa. As the whole reality, present material works and the whole reality. So Purva Mimamsa says, you don't really have to worry about Vishnu and God and Yajna. Just perform activities nicely and mechanically, he doesn't say that exactly, you'll get the result. You perform good yajna and you will get the result. It's a mechanical universe, thereby he is implying and asserting that you just perform, you don't have to worship Vishnu and become a devotee and offer a flower garland. Just do the right thing and automatically you'll get a good result. This is Janmani Rishi, his darshan of the Veda. Teach that the material, he, Janmani Rishi, and later proponents of Karma Mimamsa philosophy teach that the material existence is endless. Oh, we're coming to the end of time. And that there is no liberation. So it's the same idea that the material energy is eternal. There's no end to it. It's not fluctuating. It's a form of voidism. It's not come from any supreme person, but it is there only. And that there's no liberation. So therefore, you should just do good things so that you're in the material energy in a good position. So this is not selfless, this is not a hoitaki bhakti. This means you act nicely in the material world so that you're not in narak, you're in swargalok. Right? So it's another form of materialism. The Vedanta Sutra, however, that's Vedavyasa, especially in the 4th chapter, that's the condition. 4th canto is Mukti Kandi. It is the condition of liberation, which deals with life's ultimate goal, elaborately describes the soul's potential for achieving liberation from birth and death. So the Vedanta Sutra by Vedivada, you have the ability not just to go eternally to Swargaloka through piety, but you can go to the spiritual world and live there eternally, free of the entanglement of karmic action and reaction. And that's why we're saying Savaipum Sampara Bhakto, the highest dharma activity which sustains us is Hoitikiya Pratiyata, unmotivated service to Krishna. Just like Lord Brahma, after the Brahma Vimohan Leela, he prayed to Gopal. He said, he didn't pray for a position. He said, just let me be the grass in Vrindavan so that the gopis will trample upon me and I'll get their foot dust. This is a Hoitiki Bhakti. Let me just get the mercy of your devotees, and as you see fit, Krishna, you bestow that upon me. The Vedanta Sutra in the 4th chapter elaborately describes the potential for liberation. While sacrifice to the role of helping one become qualified to receive spiritual knowledge, yes, that means tapasya, what you should do to get that liberation. As stated there, the Agnihotra and other Vedic sacrifices are meant only for producing knowledge. Knowledge, Gyan, Bhakti Gyan, is the introduction to the Leela. So it's very important. First, purify the mind, chanting, sadhusanga. Then, Vidyavadu Jivanam. Then, Anandam Buddhivadanam. These are 3 stages. First, purification. Then, gain Siddhanta from Sadhu and from Chaitaguru. And then, Ananda will come. And when you are in Ananda, your constitutional nature will manifest automatically in the light of the Supreme Lord's loving bhakti. Because the Supreme Lord is devoted to his devotees, as well as the devotees are devoted to the Supreme Lord. The Agnihotra and other Vedic sacrifices are meant only for producing knowledge, and the very last words of Vedanta Sutra proclaim, the liberated soul never returns to this world as promised by the revealed scriptures, right? Janma kama tame divyam evam yo. If you understand Krishna, you don't return to them, you attain eternal liberation. Also in the Gita 8:21, those that attain my abode never return to this world. So this is the recommendation. This is the actual inspiration that Veda Vyasa gives us, that we're not just bouncing around in the material energy in this or that condition in a speculated, aloof or unconscious manner. No, but we have, what is that verse? Jivera Swarupoi Nichera Krishna Das. We are and the aim of life is to awaken that up in the light of realization of the Supreme Lord. Thus the fallacious conclusions of the speculative philosophers prove that even great scholars and sages are often bewildered by the misuse of their own God-given intelligence. Now this is very important. We'll finish on this point because you have a program. But the Maya Shakti produces the gross elements, but there are 2 other subtle elements that are produced by the will of the Supreme. And they are called Prasatmika Buddhi and Avaranatmika Buddhi. Prasatmika Buddhi is called throwing potency. It is a subtle energy that gives a false understanding to the spirit soul. You know, everyone thinks, oh, my football team is better than yours. Right? We all have an opinion. But then the Avaranatmika Buddhi potency follows and convinces you that your opinion is correct. So those 2 potencies are acting, we see in this paragraph, even upon the great sages. It doesn't matter that they're great sages and they can recite the Vedas. The Maya Shakti, Durga Devis, can overcome. So we should always go to the Vedas without motivation. Hoitiki. You understand the point? If we go to the Vedas or we maintain desire, I want to attain this. Like these are the Apasampradayas, like the Shaki Vedis. They want to become gopis. So at an immature stage, they dress as gopis. And they think, I'll meditate and I'll eventually enter the spiritual world as a gopi. But they're bringing their motivation to their practice of bhakti. But ahoitaki bhakti means that I'm just chanting, Krishna, what you bestow upon me, I follow in the footsteps of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. What you decide as the result of my sadhana, that is acceptable to me. Let me just become an atom of dust at your feet. Let me just become the grass so the gopis will trample upon me. If you, as Shiva Paratam, just embrace me or trample me. That's your choice. You can do that. But I just want to be your devotee. And apratiyata, the bhakti sadhana means you maintain that desire. Now if you maintain that desire, ahoitaki bhakti, then the Maya Shakti cannot touch you. This is the point here. Even the great sages, because they have an idea, I think I'll write in this light, in this way. So then the Maya Shakti, they have a motivation other than just Krishna, you decide. This is the selflessness of the gopis, of the Vatsalya Bhav, of the Sakyaras, the Dasya, all the residents of Vrindavan, the followers of Lord Chaitanya. They are selfless servants. So because they have no personal aspiration, the Maya Shakti cannot come and cover them and make them convinced, this is a good idea, this is a good thing. Like it, nadanam, what is that verse? Yeah, nadanam, ahoitaki, birth after birth. Lord Chaitanya is saying, even birth after birth, I'm not aspiring to go to the spiritual world, just give me bhakti, ahoitaki bhakti. And then the Maya Shakti has no linchpin, no way to attach to the devotee's consciousness. So this is essential to understand for the sadhaka. We have no aspiration for our own self, but we just let that decision come from Srimati Radharani, from Krishna, from the devotees. Let them decide. I just want to be a servant of the servant. This is pure bhakti. And this is perfection. And this is how we enter the supreme realms. Because that is how everyone is in these supreme realms. Everyone is selfless. And even the Supreme Lord is selfless. He is not. He is creating so many jivas unlimitedly for their happiness. Not because he's completely unlimited at Maram. He's not creating living entities because I like it. No, he's thinking in a selfless way. Let me create all these independent, free will living entities for their happiness. Just like a mother, we can understand. She gives up everything to love her child and nurture her child. She forgets everything else. So this is a material example. But in the spiritual world, that perfection is there. So we should conceive that and understand that as our goal. Now, I think time is running out. There's another paragraph. Corporate, 6 other, yeah. So I encourage you to read the other 2 paragraphs. But they are, it seems, a summation of what we've just discussed. Yes, and they're very interesting. But I think we're short of time. And it's winter, so you need a good breakfast. So, thank you all very much for your very kind attention. I hope you've got something from the class. Thank you. Your presence is my inspiration. Srimati Radharani, Sri Krishna, all the acharyas, ki. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Vrindavan Dham ki Jai. Shri Krishna Balaram Mandir ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare